Hey there. In the market for a new laptop? Today we're diving into a simple guide on how to find a good laptop. I'm going to walk you through the basics and even give you a link to Amazon with filters in place to show you the laptops within my recommendations. Let's get started. So first off, I'm going to talk about the basics of looking at the stats of a laptop. So right here, I have a laptop pulled up on Amazon, and usually they will have a majority of all the stats in the title. And then down below, we'll have more stats showing the brand, model, screen, the color, hard drive, CPU, RAM, screen size, all that stuff. So this is the stuff you really want to pay attention to, at least some pretty basic factors. So like in this one, it's a 15.6-inch screen, so that is diagonal of the screen. That's a standard size laptop. This has an Intel Celeron processor. I personally do not like Celeron processors. They're, these in-series processors, I just don't have much luck with them. 12 gigs DDR4, good amount of memory, a 512 solid state hard drive, so the SSD is solid state, and the Bluetooth is always a good idea as well. And nowadays, basically, you want anything with Windows 11 just to make sure it's compatible with Windows 11. That way, you know you're getting a more up-to-date laptop. So, a laptop with some good stats on it. So, this is a Lenovo 6.5 touchscreen laptop. This is an Intel Core i5 11th generation. And then it's got 20 gigs of RAM and a 1 terabyte solid state hard drive. Let's see, Bluetooth, supposed long battery life. Usually they're pretty good. Windows 11. So what you would do is you would come down here, look at all these stats, make sure they're qualified within your stats that you're needing for a laptop. And then up here you can choose different configurations. So if you don't need as much drive space or RAM or something like that, you can save money or add if you need more. But really 8 to 16 gigs of RAM is fine for majority of people. So, talking about the different screen sizes, okay, look at these 11, 14, 15.6, and 17.3. So, the standard laptop is going to be 15.5. So, that is diagonal measurement of the screen. So, this is what majority of people's laptops are. So, this is what normally what you're going to want, unless you're needing something with a bigger screen. Now, I see these bigger screens as something better for people that have a hard time reading on the screen with vision problems, or if it's sitting on a desktop all its life and just being used as basically a desktop computer. It gives you a bigger screen to use, everything like that. The 14-inch, those are good for I like to say college students, people on the go. I use a 14-inch for my work, so I can just take it everywhere I want to go. It travels very easily, very easy to take care of. 11-inch laptop, honestly, for me, I do not find it useful whatsoever. It is tiny. The screen is just too small. May as well do it on my phone. That's how I personally feel about it. A lot of people love them. A lot of it is just getting in front of one, seeing if you would like it that small as well. But I think 14 is that good range for majority of people to, still keep it small enough to move around and big enough to read. Another thing to think about is a standard screen and a touch screen. what model you would want. Would you actually use a touch screen? And then there's the standard laptop, which just opens and closes. And then you have the 2-in-1 laptop, which the screen will flip all the way around to where you can use it more like a tablet. Those are nice. Mine does that. It even has a pen that comes out to where I can use it. I think I've used it like twice. Otherwise, I just use it as a standard laptop. So if you're not planning to use it very much as a full convertible, I would steer away from it, just because as a tech, I see a lot of these laptops come in with hinge problems. The hinges bind up, they get moved around wrong, things like that, and they can be an expensive fix. So the next part I'm going to look at is I'm going to explain the stats to you. So, brand. So I usually tell my customers, stick with name brand. Just about any brand is going to be fine. Every brand has a good one and a bad one. I don't care who they are. Some computers are good, some are bad. So there's a lot of random name laptops out there nowadays. They're the same way, but whenever it comes to having to get them worked on and get replacement parts for them, they are very difficult to find parts for. So I usually say stick to name brand. The next thing is the CPU and processor. To my customers, I always recommend either an AMD Ryzen series or Intel i series processor, like i3, i5, i7, or Ryzen 3, Ryzen 5, Ryzen 7. Any type are fine. I usually steer away from the i3 stuff and stick more to i5 range. But if it usually doesn't have that i series or Ryzen series, I just steer away from it. Like I was showing with the Celeron chip, I don't like those. So usually sticking with the Ryzen or i series is going to be your best bet. Now for RAM memory. So RAM is pretty vital whenever it comes to using your computer. Now depending on what you're doing with your computer, you always want to have enough RAM to do that. So with a standard user that just does email, internet searching, basic stuff on their computer, 8 gigs of RAM is fine. If you're doing something more like, more large spreadsheets or databases or things like that, 16 would be a good idea. But any computer within 8 to 16 gigs of RAM is going to be fine for a majority of people. You don't need to go crazy with getting, 32 gigs of RAM when all you're doing is checking your email and watching YouTube. It's not going to be used at all. And then also sticking with DDR4. Don't go down to DDR3 because that's just going to be an older computer. So make sure it's that DDR4 larger, and then that way it'll be safe. Then your storage, your hard drive. I always say, including this day and age, stick to a solid state hard drive or an SSD. Standard users, a 256, a 512 gig is going to be good. If you're storing a lot of stuff, a lot of pictures, a 1 terabyte or something like that. But if you're storing a lot of pictures, you want to have a cloud service set up and just have it to where it stores everything on the cloud and not on the computer. So that way if something drastic happens, it's saved and backed up somewhere. I always have customers come in, they're like, I had the drive, I was going to do a backup, this weekend or something like that, but it's already too late because their drive died. So that's basically the big things to look at. There is also other aspects as far as Do I want a CD-ROM? How many USB ports do I need? Am I okay with USB-C ports? The charging port, I like to get laptops that have a USB-C charging port just because I use those cables for everything from charging my phone to devices to everything. I just like USB-C. Also, Wi-Fi and Bluetooth are a good thing to look at. Bluetooth is a good idea if you use a lot of wireless devices. I like hooking up my headphones to my laptop. Another more, advanced portion to look at is if you're using it for work a lot and you're in the field a lot. I use a cellular card with my laptop, and it costs me like $20 a month with my provider, and I've got basically unlimited internet, so I just open up my computer no matter where I'm at, and I've got internet. And I travel the world, so I've taken it everywhere with me, and it's nice just being able to pop it open, having internet, and going. Some places it's not that great, but around the U.S., Mexico, things like that, having that good internet on my laptop just anywhere I go really helps me out, and it helps my customers out whenever I have to support them on the road. But that's basically it. I've provided a link in the description below, which has a list, basically, of pre-selected filters for Amazon search, which has all these things that I recommend, and it just gives you all the newest laptops that fit within that criteria. So no matter when you click the link, it'll tell you the most current laptops that are out there right now within those parameters. Go down there, give that a click, view some of those laptops. My biggest thing is reading reviews and seeing what people are saying about that product, because you can have almost two identical laptops from the same manufacturer, and one can be complete junk. The other one, could run for 100 years. They're just like cars. So you just got to be careful what you're going onto out there. So if you have any questions, comments, like to see any other things on videos, just let me know. I'm kind of rambling on here, so just check it out, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks.